Be strong.
Alrighty, well, a good morning. Let's get our heads right here on a Friday, February 17th, 2022. My name is Justin. Welcome to another episode of the Throwing right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I'm excited to bringing you coverage, finishing off the week strong, and all of that. Man, I can't wait to start breaking down and just start talking about the world of professional wrestling. It's been I want to say it's been a rough week, you guys. But obviously, spending 2 weeks out dealing with COVID and dealing with sickness and in health and all that good stuff, coming back on Tuesday, kind of getting back into the swing of things, having some, I want to get back into the 6 to 8, but then we've been doing from 10 to noon, noon to 2, 8 to 10 this morning. And listen, it's more about making sure I put on that product and putting on the show and coming to you guys right now with my schedule being open, dealing with some stuff. The fiance has been working first thing in the morning last couple of days. So it's just kind of like, okay, now we could, where do we put in the show? And, there's days where you have everything lined up and you have all your ducks lined up in a row and you're excited and you can figure things out. And then there's other days where, you kind of have no content. You're trying to scramble through storylines. So we kind of gotten away with this week, but we are officially on Friday. And that means, you know what Friday is? That we got to get you guys ready for the weekend, and a big weekend here. And mainly so, tomorrow night, we are less than about 38 hours away before the Elimination Chamber, the final stop before WrestleMania. I think that's really a big, something that should be addressed and really heavily talked about, you guys. Think about this. Elimination Chamber tomorrow night in Toronto, or in, Toronto, Montreal, in Canada. And it is the fallout to the Royal Rumble, and it is the road to WrestleMania. Now, a couple things that I want you to kind of keep in mind here as we talk about the program. And hour number one, you guys, is going to be heavily on WWE Elimination Chamber, SmackDown, what to expect tonight, because I don't know about you, and maybe my mind needs to be refreshed a little bit, but I don't really quite remember much about the last couple Elimination Chambers. Matter of fact, if you're asking me now, I don't know if, let me put it best way, I don't know if I remember last year's Elimination Chamber, only except for the moment where Austin Theory had the 15 minutes of fame with Brock Lesnar inside the chamber itself. Otherwise, I feel like the last few Elimination Chambers events have not lived up to its expectation, has not lived up to the road to WrestleMania. For some reason, I'm more excited today for Elimination Chamber tomorrow than I have been in the last few years, and to me that says a lot. It says a lot of volume there. A couple of things that we need to know before we head into before we actually start talking about everything and start talking about about Elimination Chamber. The first thing that we need to know is that we are in Canada. I don't know when the last time, I think it's been a while since WWE has held a premium live event in a different country other than being in Saudi Arabia. And I think that is an improvement. We're supposed to, I believe you have Money in the Bank that's going to be in the UK. And I appreciate that, I like to travel, kind of change up the atmosphere. But there's a couple of reasons why being in Canada, Elimination Chamber, that really just sets the bar and elevates everything. First of all, I told you it's been a while, who knows when, and I like the transition back into it. The second thing is that it's going to be a big night for at least two athletes that I know of. One, Edge, because these are, this is where Edge is grown up and raised, and then two, let's say it, the underdog of the night in Sami Zayn. So, being in Canada, I think it's kind of worked perfectly. This story, whatever story is being told, it's, it finally feels that the WWE has made sense to the venues and the location and where the storyline is progressing at. So, what do we need to know heading into Elimination Chamber tomorrow night? Okay. One thing that we need to know is that this is the final stop. There's no fast lane. There's no other premium lives. This is the final stop of before WrestleMania. Come Monday, all right, we have 6 weeks. We have about 12 shows in 6 weeks. Come Monday up until WrestleMania. And the one thing, and I'll dive more into this on Monday morning, but the one thing that I could take away from that is that as of today, there are 3 matches booked and confirmed for WrestleMania. That is Roman was Cody Rhodes challenging the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Either that's going to be Roman Reigns or Sami Zayn, and we'll talk a lot about that. 2, we have Rhea Ripley, who won the Women's Royal Rumble match and challenged Charlotte Flair. And since then, we really haven't heard or seen a lot from either people, especially about each other. And 3, okay, we have the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which will be held tomorrow. And the winner of that match will go on and challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. So 3 matches have been set and confirmed heading into this weekend and come Monday. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that we need to go hit the panic button or anything. No, because I'm confident in the WWE. I'm confident in the creative team, and I'm confident in Triple H that they know what they're doing. But any match that needs to be set or changed or altered or whatever the case may be, if there's not a match confirmed, it needs to be confirmed this weekend. Back at the Rumble, there was a few things that sparked that led to potential storylines leading to WrestleMania. Elimination Chamber is going to seal some of those and now those faiths. But come Monday, I strongly believe, not to hit the panic button yet, but I strongly believe that the WWE needs to start pushing some of these matches that are going to be announced for WrestleMania. And here's why. If you take a look at the speculation of matches that could possibly be announced, okay, I was a little impressed how they were capable of relating Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair on a rivalry that was dated back 3 years ago, and now they made it personal. Right there, great. Not much more needs to be said. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, whatever, or Sami Zayn, not much needs to be said. But moving forward, there is only one rivalry that I could think of that does not need to build anymore if they don't want to. And that is Dominic and Rey Mysterio. This has been built up ever since Dominic has been looked at in been a part of Judgment Day. So, in my opinion, if you sat there and you told us the week before WrestleMania, or you told us Monday night on Raw that Dominic and Rey is going to have a feud and have a match at WrestleMania, there's no more story that needs to be told about that. That's already kind of broken down. Now, you know, I would also say that Edge and Finn Balor is another one that if they are going to have a match at WrestleMania, that they don't need any sort of storyline or storytelling. But other than that, they need that any other matches squared or scheduled booked for WrestleMania need to start being told coming up here starting Monday. And as I mentioned, not to hit the panic button, but 6 weeks in the WWE flies by fast, especially with all the events that's happening heading into and leading into WrestleMania. So, Elimination Chamber tomorrow, February 18th. It's going to be on at 8 p.m., available on Peacock. And what a big night that this event's going to bring you. And I'm actually very excited. They kept it nice and simple. There's going to be 5 match cards. We have the mixed tag team match with Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor taking on Beth Phoenix and Edge. They have Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. They have the men's Elimination Chamber match, and it's for the United States Championship. That's going to be Montez Ford taking on Johnny Gargano, taking on Bronson Reed, taking on Austin Theory, taking on Seth Rollins, taking on Damian Priest. We have the women's Elimination Chamber match, which is going to be the number 1 contender spot for the Raw Women's Championship. That's going to be Asuka taking on Raquel Rodriguez, taking on Liv Morgan, taking on Nikki Cross, taking on Natalya, and taking on Carmella. And then we have Sami Zayn taking on Roman Reigns for the WWE undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. So we have ourselves our match looked out for. So what do we want to do today on this program? Well, I'll tell you this. We're going to spend heavily hour number 1 here. We're going to take a break, start a little later, so I apologize, but we're going to take a little break. But we want to start heavily on hour number 1 with Elimination Chamber, which is going to lead us into, SmackDown's in Canada also tonight. So what to expect coming out of SmackDown. And then we'll transition to the regular program that we normally provide with our, local sports. We'll talk about some college today. A couple articles that came out, NBA All-Star. I think we'll pay a visit to that. So that's our game plan for tonight's program. For this morning's program, pretty impactful. So I want to go ahead and thank everyone for tuning in. If you guys are watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, YouTube, we'll start with them all. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Press on those notifications. Don't miss any single episode. You guys could also tune us in live on Facebook, Twitter. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, get involved. If you look to get involved in the conversations during the program, I want to hear your opinions. I really want to know what you guys think and what you guys have to say. I will definitely share them on our comment section. But what you got to do, you guys got to head on over to you got to head on over to our YouTube page. There's a TNC Sports Talk. You guys got to subscribe, turn us on, leave a comment down below. If you guys are taking us on the road with you, where you guys listen to us at work, listen to us at home while you're driving, whatever the case may be, thank you. Don't miss a single episode. All right, so let's step aside. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get our heads on right here, and we'll start breaking down Elimination Chamber, which begins next. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Throw-In with Justin. That's me right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. 8:21 here on a Friday morning. Thank you guys for listening to the Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Our program is given to you by StreamYard Studios, a proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Create your podcasts, YouTube videos, host virtual business meetings, and conduct interviews, and all that. Big shout out to StreamYard Studios for making all this possible. For more information, check out StreamYardStudios.com. We're wrapping up the end of the week, kind of dealing with. So, all right. Down to business, trying to text, answer some messages during the break. Welcome back here. And, listen, let's go ahead. And without further ado, let's get down into the conversations. First match I want to talk about, it has to be the mixed tag match here between Edge, Beth Phoenix taking on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. And quickly before I really start talking about all of this and talking about all of these matches and everything, I want to give a big shout out to Steve Barber, Dwaylon Davis over there at Armchair Booking, you guys, because I was, since I've been back, and what I love doing is once in a while I'll message Steve asking a question, a thought maybe that he can answer or he can share some light on either at that moment or later on in some upcoming program. And so as I got back into the show earlier this week, and as I was kind of thinking about some of the matches leading up to Elimination Chamber, there's some questions I had about Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns tomorrow night. There was a question I had about Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. And, Steve reached out to me before they did the recording last night, and their episode is available audio platform wise on social media. The Elimination Chamber 2023 review at Armchair Wrestling Booking Podcast. And they answered those questions. And then that's so great. I really love getting other people's, especially other people that are in the wrestling podcasting field. I love to get their thoughts and their opinions and have a different take on everything that happens. So, I had to talk to them last night. They did the recording. I listened to it. It's crazy because I listen to podcasting when I go to sleep, either my personal ones or, the ones that I like, which is like Coach John Quintero, which is more of a radio show. Ben and Woods over there in San Diego on 97.3, The Fan. Or even, like Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. So thank you guys. I wanted to thank them for a moment to kind of weigh in their, opinions and thoughts about the questions that I had, that I'll kind of give you my take on as we talk about Elimination Chamber. All right. So we have the first match that we'll talk about, which is Edge and Rhea Ripley taking on, or Edge and Beth Phoenix taking on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. And there's 2 points. First of all, let's go ahead and admire that this match for Edge and Beth Phoenix is all about, it's all about having fun. It's all about enjoying your time in the ring, trying to put on the best performance, and kind of ending your career, walking off into the sunset on your own terms. And to be able, I've already applauded Edge for being able to come back from an injury that put him into retirement to begin with. I also have taken a lot of respect and gratitude and, appreciated the work that both Edge and Beth Phoenix comes in. But we know by now that this is kind of a buying time. Edge also plays that, has played that role as, all right, if you need somebody, you could call on me. And, I know a lot of people has talked to Edge about talked about Edge saying, hey, he needs to retire. And I don't disagree. I think that sooner, very soon, that he needs to hang up the boots. And I understand completely where Edge and Beth Phoenix may come from when, you go on, say it's kind of hard to retire. And even though you say you're retired, a lot of times you don't. A lot of times you find yourself on these fan fest events, around the world, kind of competing small here and there. And so I would like to see Edge and Beth Phoenix off in the sunset. I think that their time and their place for storylines in the WWE is running very thin. And but I think they still have to finish off the unfinished business, and that's handling the Judgment Day. The very thing that Edge created. He established it. Damian Priest captured onto it. Rhea Ripley captured onto it. Finn Balor took it to the next level, added on Damian Priest. I think Edge should hold his head high. If you're asking me, and this is speculation, and this is all just, and maybe if I was booking the program for myself, I'd put Edge and Finn Balor in a retirement match, and have Finn Balor be the one to retire Edge at WrestleMania, put the career on the line. And I think that for me, that would be something noteworthy, something spectacular at WrestleMania. But this match here coming up at Elimination Chamber, it doesn't, I was listening to Armchair Booking podcast last night, and they were talking about how Rhea Ripley, and I have to agree with this, but they talked about how the Judgment Day needs this victory more than anything else. Rhea Ripley is about to go on and face Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. A loss doesn't build any momentum for her heading into WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair. On top of that, I think overall, because you still have Damian Priest in at you have Damian Priest inside that Elimination Chamber match, but Rhea Ripley is starting to pave that way to the Judgment Day's success. And I think it's the start. And I think this 2023 is going to be that push for Judgment Day if everything works out correctly. Rhea Ripley goes on, and just hear me out. Rhea Ripley goes on and wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, defeating Charlotte Flair, overcoming the feud that they had years back. Finn Balor ends up taking out and eliminating Edge and making him retire at WrestleMania. Damian Priest starts building his momentum up, especially, by the way, and we'll talk about that here when we talk about the Elimination Chamber match for the men's. But we also have, see Dominic Mysterio, who then finally gets his one-on-one match with Rey Mysterio, and that would be a big match to be able to defeat his own father. So when you come down to this match between Edge, Beth Phoenix, Rhea Ripley, I think the Judgment Day needs to benefit from this victory. They need to benefit from this match, and they need this win more than Edge and Beth Phoenix does. I think this leads up to Finn and Edge at WrestleMania. And Rhea's going to go on and do her own thing. But I think at the end of the day, if Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley lose this match tomorrow night in Canada, then unfortunately, I think we kind of see ourselves in a little bit of a deadlock picture of the progress that the Judgment Day is going. It's either, and they've been growing, even regardless if you like them or not, they've been growing more and more and more as the weeks progress, and they're finally finding their rhythm. They're finding their dominance. They're dominant, fraction on Raw. So I'm picking the Judgment Day over Edge and Beth Phoenix. All right, let's continue talking some more of these matches. Coming up next, we talked a little bit about this throughout the week. It's Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. There's a couple of ways that I could see this playing out, and it all depends how it goes through. The last few weeks, you guys, I've seen, it's kind of a hit or miss. Since Bobby Lashley's return, MVP has approached him, wanting him to reform the Hurt Business, but at the same time, Bobby Lashley wants to take matters in his own hands. So my question coming into this match tomorrow night is, could you see this match being somehow involved with MVP and Omos, getting in the way, maybe either costing Bobby the match or costing, Brock Lesnar the match and helping Bobby Lashley. You know, if, I was here listening, and a lot of this is going to reflect back to armchair booking because this is who I heard from last night. And I want to just have some sort of comparison in this notation. But when you have a guy like this feud, I completely wiped out thinking about this. This feud is one of its own. Dwayne said last night that this feud has started back at Crown Jewel. Now, I personally believed every time that they met that this is a new feud lurking. Excuse me. But in my opinion, coming into this match, it's hard to want, I like where Brock Lesnar's at in his career. That understanding that, hey, we're going to give back to the company and we're going to put over Roman Reigns last year. We're putting over Bobby Lashley last year. And I think at the end story, when this is all said and done, this leads up to a WrestleMania match again, but with some sort of gimmick stipulation. And that's when Bobby Lashley gets over. I think right now, for me, it's hard to choose between Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar. My concern coming into this match is, one, you have two identical men that will will brawl with each other each time they step into the ring. You know that this is going to be a physical fight each time these two men step in the ring. You know that they will bring the best out of each other. You know that this is not gonna end pretty, and it's not gonna be clean by any means stretch. So my thing was that they were, that every time these two men stepped into the ring in the past, someone's gotten physically hurt where it has taken them out of action for a period of time. When Bobby Lashley got hurt back at Crown Jewel, that took him out for a period of time. Last year, it also happened at the beginning of the year. So I get worried because you risk a high level of injury heading into Elimination Chamber, especially if these two men are going to continue their feud in 6 weeks at WrestleMania. With that being said, I like both men winning this match. Okay, I like, you could see, I could see Brock Lesnar winning this match, and then Bobby Lashley, and then maybe in a way that he cheated or he got distracted on outside interference, which leads up to a WrestleMania event. But what I could see happening, and I think this is kind of fits more of a perfect point, is that Bobby Lashley is not crawling at this match. Okay, Bobby Lashley is not fighting to face or eager to face Brock Lesnar. Is Brock Lesnar the one who wants to get his hands on Bobby Lashley, and that's why he instigated this upcoming match that you see tomorrow night. Well, if Brock Lesnar wins, he goes on, clears his hands, says, "I'm done." Bobby Lashley really, didn't want this match, didn't really care for this match to begin with. But at the same time, if Bobby Lashley wins, this kind of also provokes Brock Lesnar to say, "Hey, listen, I'm not done with you. You've had a win over me. You eliminated me. There's more to go and to build from heading into WrestleMania." So it's kind of a difficult one to choose. I'm choosing Bobby Lashley, not because he's a fan favorite. I've heard everyone loves Bobby Lashley. I kind of like Brock Lesnar, probably more so because I understand his role right now. And the reason why I'm also going to choose Bobby Lashley, because if this does set up to a WrestleMania match, and if this, the way I'm hearing it is Bobby Lashley will get over at WrestleMania 2. Bobby Lashley also needs this win, needs the momentum build up, needs that win at WrestleMania, because moving forward from WrestleMania, and I don't think a lot of people are looking forward, but moving forward from WrestleMania, you need to reestablish Bobby Lashley's dominance And by having him win these next two matches, or that's coming up between him and Brock Lesnar, that we're assuming, kind of helps promote him that way. You can see him in a future maybe title shot, because here's what you got to start doing. All right. A lot of people, let me put it this way, and I'm jumping too far ahead, but that's okay here for a moment. What's going to happen after WrestleMania? Who is at the top of the table after WrestleMania? Who is, if Roman Reigns is, rumors say that he's gonna, he's been carrying WWE on his back for the last 3 years. There's rumors that after, something happens, after he, whatever happens at WrestleMania, he's gonna be taking some time off, which is well respected. But what ends up happening is that you need guys to be up at that level. You had Roman Reigns up at that top level, the number one guy for this long period of time. Is that now when he's stepping away, you need to start making sure you have guys ready in there to replace him. That's Cody Rhodes, that's Bobby Lashley, that's Seth Rollins. I would like to see Baron Corbin back at the top of that picture. Um, that's Finn Balor in this sense, because you're going to need a handful of guys that can fill in that spot while Roman Reigns is away. And I don't know if Sami Zayn, and I'm just throwing this out, or Cody Rhodes, or not Cody Rhodes, or Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are those guys that can get to that, maintain that level of, hey, we're at the top of the table. So I'm choosing Bobby over Brock Lesnar at Elimination Chamber tomorrow night. All right, we're continuing our talks here. When we come back, we'll talk about the two pay-per-view, the two elimination chamber matches are set place, and then we'll give you our thoughts about Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. That still continues here on the Throw-In with Justin on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
not be saved by rock and roll. You can take my money, steal my car, and sell my clothes. You can take the shoes I'm in, go on and take everything. You can have about everything I own.
Alrighty, welcome back here to the throw-in. 8:42, taking you guys up until 10 o'clock here on the GNC Sports Talk YouTube channel to finish off the week. And we are down here talking about Elimination Chamber, which will be here tomorrow night in Canada. And, we're just talking about some of the matches, and we're going to continue talking about some of the matches. And the big one of the big ones coming up is the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which the winner will become the new number one contender to face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. This is one of the three matches that I have told you that has been confirmed for WrestleMania. And the one thing that I want to really address to everyone here in a bigger opinionated moment is that, when you realistically look at the list of females and the men's side, when we get to the men's Elimination Chamber match, is that, everyone has an argumentative case for winning the match. But yet again, they don't have an argumentative case for winning the match. When you realistically see what's at stake, and what's at stake is an opportunity at the grandest stage of them all in WWE and the world wrestling, in the professional wrestling itself, then you really want to make sure that when you book up these matches, you're giving the fans what they want. And that's when a lot of these people, or a lot of these talents are going to participate in the Elimination Chamber, just doesn't cut it. All right. You take a look right now at some of the females. Carmella, who'd been there, done that. Liv Morgan, been there, done that. Natalia, been there, done that. Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez. When there's a good combination of females who have been, that are in the Elimination Chamber match, that knows what it's about, that knows how to handle themselves. Liv Morgan was in it last year. Natalia's been in it before. And then there's some females that have an opportunity to grow themselves. And the Elimination Chamber isn't just about winning or losing. And I think for all women or all competitors, a matter of fact, the Elimination Chamber is about the growth and what you have in store. It's kind of like the push before the major push to see what you're capable of giving. And for a person like Raquel Rodriguez, a person like Nikki Cross, who I think 2023 and 2022 has kind of been a real setback for Nikki Cross. And now, I like this, her going back to her own character and her own ways. And I think, you could build from that. Raquel Rodriguez has been thrown out there a little bit over the last year. She's still growing. But when you look at the six females you also have to look at the person that you're defending, that you're going to be challenging, and that's Bianca Belair. So I really like this match. I really like the competitors. I think it's a well-designed that Raquel Rodriguez will get a good taste of what where she's at and what she needs to do, and her continuing to build up, week after week. And then you look at Nikki Cross, another opportunity. Liv Morgan, I think, although, even though you could see that, hey, she's not going to win, or she may not win, and I don't want to say, she's not going to win, that there's no chance for any of these other five, because anything could happen in the match, and then you have to go with plan B. But, Liv Morgan, she wants to get back to the top of the table, then this is the kind of the match that she has to do it at. But I'm going strictly with Asuka. Now, I was a bit disappointed at WrestleMania when I heard that Rhea Ripley at the Royal Rumble, excuse me, I'm all over the place. But I was a little disappointed at the Royal Rumble when I found out that um, Rhea Ripley was challenging Charlotte Flair. And I understand that feud, but I really thought that maybe you'd have the feud that, this was an NXT feud between Bianca and Rhea. And I would have loved to see that respark. But I think Asuka's a good opponent because when you figure who is your best chance at selling, to face Bianca and to sell and put people in seats, Asuka's that person. So I'm choosing Asuka, and like I said, all other five women can and probably also do deserve an opportunity at WrestleMania. The men's Royal Rumble match, and I think you really see this out of the men's Royal Rumble match. Um, Now it's for the United States Championship, and it's different, right? There's a title on the line, and I think it's a decent time. And we've seen this from time to time again, but we're finally seeing the push of the United States Championship. We see Montez Ford taking on Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, and Damian Priest. And as I mentioned to you guys beforehand, that the Judgment Day, I think in 2023, really needs a huge push. And they're starting it with Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble, going to WrestleMania, facing Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Finn Balor, needing to, I think, needs to just completely finish Edge and his career, in my opinion. And then you look towards, Dominic going on, and, listen, all eyes right now are set to Dominic and Ray at some point and sooner than later. But Damian is kind of that person, remember a year ago, he was holding that United States Championship. I think you would love to see him hold that title again. And I think this is where in Judgment Day is finally starting to say, all right, we're going to start winning here. We're going to start making our names and establishing ourselves. And one of the key reasons why you're seeing that, or you're going to see that, is because the bloodline is going to die down a little bit. The bloodline is going to, take a small little break. So you have that top fraction no more, and you need a new fraction to step in. And it's not Imperium, but it's the Judgment Day. So Damian Priest, I think this is going to be a huge spot for him, just because he's going to need this, because everyone else is starting to find their role. Damian Priest doesn't need to be that lost and lone wolf in that pack that doesn't have anything going for him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin Theory and Damian down that road at some point. For a guy like Montez Ford, for a guy like Johnny Gargano, for a guy like Damian Bronson Reed, these are younger guys. These are guys that probably don't necessarily fit the bill. But here's where things go after. Things get interesting. Is that you're always looking for that next young person, the next young talent. And you really, it's about establishing yourself. And I think that opportunities like the Royal Rumble and the 15, 20 seconds that you get of fame when you enter in the Royal Rumble, the Money in the Bank could do so much good for a competitor, win or lose. And even now the Elimination Chamber can do wonders by these young guys and being able to display their talent in the ring, inside a cage, going after, competing at this magnitude. So when you look at Montez Ford, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, I see these three guys as stepping stones. This is where you get into the cage, you show WWE what you got, and if you could pull it off, or if you show something that's a little promising, they may or may not, take a further look with you. We talked about Montez Ford being one half of the fraction of the Street Profits, and this is just an opportunity to kind of build your image as a single competitor, just in case. Johnny Gargano, he hasn't really been a part of anything spectacular. And I think that, he was at a top certain level with Johnny Gargano in NXT. He hasn't had that spot in WWE. He's kind of, since he left NXT, came into WWE, he's kind of been washed around left and right, in and out. And then you get down to Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, a new guy. No one really knows much of him unless you really know about his past and know what he's capable of doing. But, he's a big dude, and he's proven to himself time and time again, or proven to us that he can maintain himself. And the only way people are going to take him seriously if he continues to show what he's capable of in that ring week in and week out. The two key guys that are in this match for me is Austin Theory and Seth Rollins. Austin Theory, and I was, like I said, this is kind of reflecting right back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling podcast from last night. But Austin Theory has really grown up. He needed that. Last year, he was given that push. He was forcefully given the push by Vince McMahon. He was, things were handed to him on a silver platter almost. And when he had to finally start earning his way and finding himself and, having to step up to these challenges and know where to run, know where to hide, know when to hide behind, he's becoming an actually heel that you actually want to watch. And when you inflict yourself into already established talents, guys like Seth Rollins, then things just make it that much better. Austin Theory has had one hell of a year last year, and I'd argue that Austin Theory is probably one of my favorites on Raw today. It's some people will say it's easy to play a heel character, but in order to play a heel character and to play that heel character that is a good heel character, is that you still need to win over the fans. You need in a negative way. You need to make the fans hate you. And that's what Austin Theory has been able to do. He has been able to use his slick techniques, and it's a combination of every heel in the past. He's been able to use, and he's been able to, get the WWE's attention. You tune into Monday Night Raw to see what dirty games that Austin Theory has to play next. Seth Rollins, he's a favorite in this match, but at the same time, listen, Seth Rollins, I think he's in a different direction. He's coming down to the same storyline last year where he doesn't necessarily have a WrestleMania match. And you could already kind of predict the game, where Seth Rollins, WrestleMania match is going to go down. So, my opinion, I'm throwing in Austin Theory. Some valid points, and like I said, these are all speculations, these are all rumors. But Austin Theory, can retains the U.S. title, goes on to WrestleMania, and whether he loses, I think he needs to hold on to that United States Championship a little longer, because every time he's in with that title and he's associated with that title, he's bringing that title to a praise, to the attention, and he's also elevating his career and elevating what he's capable of doing. So I have Austin Theory winning and walking away, retaining the United States Championship. You also kind of think of it that why would you change hands now at Elimination Chamber with someone, leading up to WrestleMania? So does it really make sense that Austin Theory drops that title 6 weeks before WrestleMania? I think the only way you would have him drop that title is if he could somehow, in about 2 weeks from now, retain that title and get that title back. That's my opinion. End of hour number 1. I want to save Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns for hour number 2. I also want to talk, we got SmackDown tonight. Ronda Rousey returns. If anything wants to work here, there we go. SmackDown's tonight and be available on Fox, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got Ronda Rousey teaming up with Shayna Baszler. Now, come Monday, one I want to really bring up to you, because I told you guys that there are 3 matches confirmed. And I told you that starting Monday, we need to start getting more matches confirmed for WrestleMania. But come Monday, when this is, we'll get into the weekend, we'll open things up Monday. I want to look into, I'll show you what I think my WrestleMania match cards are going to be. And then, these are all hypothetical. But then I also want to share with you the list of people who don't have matches yet that probably should be having a WrestleMania match this coming up year. So we'll talk about all that. All right, hour number 1's complete. I'll come back. Hour number 2 will get you down to local sports and all that fun stuff, taking you guys up until 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow, we can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with me. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche, we're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow, we can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free.
You think you know me? Say I'm as cold-hearted as they come. You think I'm slowly cutting my ties with you, that I'm done. Here's what you
Alrighty, hour
know.
number 2 here on the throw-in. We're gonna go ahead and come back to Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But what we do all the time is at the beginning of hour number 2, we want to go ahead and talk about local sports. Hour number 2 is given to you by Spreaker. Thanks to Steve Barber, who's introduced Spreaker to me. Been love Spreaker every single time. If you're looking to upload and monetize your podcast to audio platforms, check out Spreaker.com. You could upload it to multiple different platforms, have different podcasts up on Spreaker, and it's very affordable. Be able to get money back and be able to spread your show around to different social media platforms. Spreaker's available. You head on over to Spreaker.com for more information. Alrighty, it's a Friday, and I know things are kind of wishy-washy. For some reason, I always have this croak, frog voice. Not really a fan of. I'm kind of tired of it, to say. But man, listen, we are gonna head into a fun weekend. NBA All-Star Weekend is here, and we'll talk a little bit about that in hour number 2. Like I said, we'll come back and we'll talk to you, finish up Elimination Chamber. But I think time is to talk about local sports in the area. Giving to you, kicking things off, and giving it to you in the local area. Hold on, I got my pictures going. Let me get set up. I got all this going. Bear with me. Okay. Local sports here in Cincinnati, even though the Bengals are not playing, and we are officially a week from tomorrow before spring training games kicks off and the Cincinnati Reds go on and face the Cleveland Guardians next Saturday. We have Cincinnati Cyclones getting themselves underway tonight. They'll be playing or facing the Fort Wayne Comets, entering tonight's game 28-12-5. The Cincinnati Cyclones are currently second place in the ECHL Central standings. Comets come in fourth place in the Central, coming in 23-15-4 after a victory back on Wednesday. And the Cyclones pick up another victory. Puck drops at 7:30 p.m. Tonight is also Piggy Bank giveaway night for attendance in the game. And we look into the Indy Fields, who we will be facing here at the end of the month. Indy Fields will begin a 2-game series tonight and tomorrow against Kalamazoo Wings, who we just got done defeating 2-1 back on Wednesday. Cincinnati Bearcats men's basketball. We have Central Florida Knights playing this weekend. Tip-off is at high noon. The Knights are coming into the game 15-9, 6-6 in conference, 10-4 at home, while the Bearcats are 17-10, 8-6 in the conference play, and 3-5 on the road. After a loss against the East Carolina Pirates back on Wednesday, they look to turn things around this Sunday. Cincinnati leads all-time series 19-3, including 3 straight and 8-3 in Greenville. Cincinnati 16-4 when leading, but at halftime also. So key games for this weekend. It's going to be a big weekend because the games are starting to wind down, and we have in the bubble, and although Cincinnati is not in that conversation for the bubble for March Madness, you would like to finish the season off strong. So then can they come back off of a loss on Wednesday and pick up a victory this weekend? Xavier Musketeers basketball coming into this weekend's game, which is going to be tomorrow against the DePaul Blue Dragons. Tip-off is at 4 p.m. Men's basketball for Xavier's 19-7, 11-4 in conference. They will be at home, which they're only lost 1 game of the 13-1. After a loss against the Golden Eagles earlier this week, they look to come back and firing back hard. They currently sit ranked number 4 in the Midwest bracket in tournament. So we will see. Tips off at 4. Looking to get back on the right track here this weekend. Kentucky Wildcats in the bubble looking for another big game. They went ahead and beat Mississippi State 71-68 back on Wednesday. Look to take on and beat Tennessee Volunteers on Saturday. Tips off is at 1 p.m. Tennessee coming into the game 20-6, 9-4 in conference play. On the road 4-3, while the Wildcats is 17-9, 5-5 in the conference, and 12-3 at home. This is going to be another huge game, a game that I encourage people to watch early on. And with Elimination Chamber, there's a handful of sports trying to maybe schedule and arrange my sports Danley, but we'll see how that comes. But this is a game because they are on the outside looking for a bubble spot, looking for an opportunity. to they're looking for an opportunity to sit there and get into the bracket tournament and things right now. They had an impressive victory, earlier this week. They look to carry that on. Alrighty. Also today, though, college baseball gets underway in about 5 hours, 52 minutes, and 23 seconds. The Cincinnati Bearcats will be facing Georgia State. Here's a little quick preview if I can pull it up. Last meetings, Georgia State defeated Cincinnati 9-8 in extra innings on February 14, 2020 at the GCU Baseball Complex in Atlanta, Georgia. Cincinnati baseball team opens 2023 season with a 4-game series against Georgia State University. 1-3 is at 3 p.m. today at the GCU Baseball Complex Stadium. Let me see here, and I'm just going to go down. Schedule, no. So for Cincinnati, for a probable starter for Cincinnati for the weekend, this is how the weekend looks out. We have UC, right-handed pitcher Garrett Harker scheduled to kick things off today, taking on Georgia State University's right-handed pitcher Ryan Watson. And then Saturday, it's a doubleheader game. In game 1, Cincinnati's expected to have Chase Horst on the mound, left-handed pitcher, and then facing right-handed pitcher Cameron Landry. And then the second game of the doubleheader will have Dylan Broski, right-handed pitcher for Cincinnati, taking on Joseph Bandon, right-handed pitcher from Golden State. So this is going to be interesting to follow. Cincinnati doesn't have a pitching matchup for Sunday's game against Georgia State. So that's going to be a four-game series. We'll come back on Monday and cover all of that if my internet ever wants to load. We got Xavier. Here's we got Xavier, and I think Xavier has a baseball team. Yeah, just talked about them a couple days ago. Oregon State. Well, let's look into the preview here. They'll kick things off tonight against Oregon State, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be a nighttime game for us. Probable starting rotation for Friday for Xavier is Ethan Bosacker, right-handed pitcher, taking on Oregon's Logan Mercado. Saturday doubleheader. You have Brant Alazas, left-handed pitcher, versus Leo Uyaman. Xavier doesn't have a pitcher named for the second game of the doubleheader, but for Sunday, Nick Boyle is a right-handed pitcher for Xavier, taking on Jackson Pace, right-handed pitcher as well. Cincinnati opens up 2023 season at number 20 against number 20 Oregon, taking on the Ducks in a 4-game series that begins Friday at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The series continues with the doubleheader Saturday. This one start game is at 3:05, the other one, and then the finale sets for 3:05 on Sunday. All 4 games will be streamed on the Pac-12 Network Plus. Okay, if you guys have the Pac-12 Network Plus, check out those Xavier Musketeers baseball team, and I want to see what I can find, either on YouTube or on my streaming services, because I want to check out some college baseball. I mean, I think that college baseball is definitely fun. I think one thing college baseball doesn't get as much attention as maybe it should. Probably it should. So, let's see what I can find out about this game here with Kentucky. Let's go live stats. Kind of discouraging. Subscription required to watch. I'm not looking to watch. I don't really have no information about Kentucky baseball other than they are taking on a 3-game series against Elon Phoenix. this weekend, starting off today at 4 p.m. First pitch on Saturdays at 2 p.m. and then 1 p.m. on Sunday. So that is your college as that begins today. Alrighty. So before I break here, kind of want to get to you some other news around baseball here because, we are a Red sports we are a Cincinnati sports podcast show, radio show. And we want to go ahead and talk about the big controversy with Rob Manfred, quoted in the Castellini comments about the Phil Castellini making his remarks back at Rosie Red. Remember a couple weeks ago, Rosie Red was a luncheon for the fan base, and Phil Castellini basically came out and said, "Hey, listen, you know what? We're not." Phil Castellini came out during the Rosie Red luncheon and basically said, "Hey, listen, we are a team that's not going to be continuing this year. Matter of fact, before the season even begins, about maybe already 14 teams aren't even going to be continuing for the playoffs. And we're one of those teams. And a matter of fact, we're not going to win." And he said that confidently. And that we're going to lose, not only lose, but lose in style. Rob Manfred the other day set out a statement. And let's see. There we go. He comments about Phil Castellini not being helpful. Cincinnati team president Phil Castellini drew criticism after Rosie Red's luncheon in January when he said the club operates like a nonprofit and a limited in the financial disparities in the sport. Castellini, according to the spoke in front of the projector screen presentation that had a headline, and I quote, "Teams out of the contention by opening day," end quote. The presentation claimed that there was 75% increase in the number of teams out of contention by opening day since 2019, and the last 3 years have averaged 14 teams out of contention at the beginning of the season. Here's what Rob Manfred said back on Wednesday. "I think most people who pay attention to our game realize that we do have a disparity issue in the game, both on the revenue side and consequently on the ability to spend on players. I think sometimes the markets that produce frustration that leads to what I regard to the unfortunate comments unhelpful." Let me just put it this way, okay? We know that, and this has kind of been a prick in the side since the end of 2021, that the Castellini's ownership of the Cincinnati Reds, whether it's Bob or Phil, has been very, very not negligent. They've been very unhelpful in and not only just in the Cincinnati Reds organization and fan base, but the entire world of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball and the world knows about their problems, how more people who have the money is willing to spend, while the other owners want to bank on what their profit is and not spend. We've seen that happen. And especially when this lockout happened last season, we have had to adjust because we really clearly saw just where the heads of the Reds front office was. We were at the stage in 2020 when we went to the playoffs, 2021 when we came close to going to the playoffs. And then out of nowhere, things just fell apart. Players we unloaded the roster. We don't spend, then the owners come out and say, "Hey, well, you know what? You guys live in the area. You guys if you guys are fans of baseball, you're coming out here regardless if you like it or not." And I'm like, dude, that's not cool, And they continue, and we knew, one thing I can accept is, hey, I understand we have to trade if we don't have the money, but the Reds had the money. The Reds had the money to do the work, and the Reds had the money to put the work in, and they choose not to. The Reds choose to take a different position. The Reds choose saying, hey, you know what? We're going to be a crappy team on purpose. We're going to put the worst players out there. All right. And, you know, if we win, we're going to take all the credit. But if we lose, then that's what's expected of us. And that's basically flat out saying that, you know, we're the owners. You guys are fans. You're going to give us your money whether you like it or not. We're going to win, and we're going to win because we're already making money before the season even starts, and we just don't care about you. While Rob Manfred, these are the same problems that every other team faces. Rob Manfred says, listen, you ain't helping the situation. If you're not going to help, get out, in my opinion. Now, what's interesting to me, because I've heard this, and I listened to the Reds Lockdown podcast about this, and they say this time and time again, that until Rob Manfred, and there's been times where the commissioner of a sport has forced ownership out to sell, and until MLB has forced the Castellinis to sell the team, then we're not going to see a winning Reds, you know, franchise. And the fact that now we're in 2023, and I think this is going to be a long process, but one thing I will admire and I will state is that we have been able to now see that, hey, the commissioner has taken an eye out for this, has seen this problem, has said, hey, this is a problem, and we can start now keeping tabs of, all right, what's the next steps? What can we do? You know, I don't know, you know, listen, I told you this week is that spring training's here. We are a week from games. Coming up Monday, the position players are to report. Castellini's go out there and hide. And I'm going to say this. If I do not want to hear the Castellinis speak whatever, whenever, as soon as opening day starts. He needs to let the attention go down to the players, because the only reason I'm going to baseball games is, for one, I love baseball. I'm adamant about baseball. And for two, I'm going to go to the games just because I want to go see guys like Joey Votto. I want to go see guys like Will Myers. I want to go see guys like Tyler Stevenson. I don't want to go to see Bob Castellini or Phil Castellini. As a matter of fact, if I show up to a game and I see them, they're going to have hell to raise. They need to go hide. Go live underneath the brick. All right. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's talk more sports, as we want to now finally address Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, taking you guys up until 10 on a Friday, right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm. Physical silence, no need to speak a word, laying here beside me. Don't wanna live to fight.
Alrighty, 923 here on the throne. Want to give a quick shout out to StreamYard or to Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, go check out epidemicsound.com. All the music that we play, ending the show, coming back from breaks, is given to you by Epidemic Sound. And this one being played right now is called Go From Here by Hillman. Epidemic Sound for more information. Alrighty, take you guys up until 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll want to, definitely come down to you. And, listen, we got to talk about the main event of Elimination Chamber. And like I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of the program, it's the Elimination Chamber is the fallout of the Royal Rumble, right? And it's also the final road before WrestleMania. I also said that come Monday that we also have 6 weeks, about 12 episodes between Raw and SmackDown before we get to WrestleMania, which is a 2-night extravaganza. I also have been preaching about how 3 matches have been confirmed so far and how matches need to start getting booked. I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm not concerned quite yet, but like I mentioned before, the only match that has not, that has not been confirmed or been talked about that really doesn't need or doesn't have to have a huge storyline because it's been building up since last year is Dominic and Rey Mysterio. Any other match, whether that you're going to see Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar at Mania, whether you're going to see Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey go for the women's tag team titles, whether you're going to see Austin Theory and John Cena, Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. And like I said, these are speculations based off of what I'm seeing on the as product out there in the ring from what I'm hearing in reports. When you look at those type of matches, they need storylines and they need to build them. They don't just need to be thrown together 3 weeks before WrestleMania and say, all right, these two are going to face each other for X, Y reasons. There's a reason why John Cena's there is a clear reason. If you look into Austin Theory and John Cena as a potential match for WrestleMania, especially for the United States Championship, you can see the reason why that match is happening. But until it gets told in the ring, and it should be told more than just one night, okay, you shouldn't be coming out 3 weeks before WrestleMania, say, John Cena, you're going to be facing Austin Theory for the United States Championship, and then that's all they address it to. No, it's not going to work. The other thing that I want to make co-parent with everyone else is that, Rhea Ripley did mention the night after the Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble that she's facing Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Since then, I haven't heard nothing about it. Really, Rhea has taken some time off. Now she's continuing back in with her feud with Judgment Day and Edge and Beth Phoenix, but they have not made anything, as a storyline process leading into WrestleMania. Now, I understand that this is a feud that is revived from 3 years ago, and that's great. I love hearing about that. But my concern is that for someone who's living under the rock, who for the last 5 years in the WWE, maybe since the pandemic or whatnot, people don't know much about Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair and their history. So moving forward, we need to start repainting that picture in the WWE universe, because I think it was well imaged that, Bianca and Rhea had a history before. I don't think many people know the in-depth between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. And the only story that really goes off of is when, it was that NXT championship match. But that's it, though. There's nothing more being said or being done. And I think now, especially after this kind of little roadblock that they're in, it needs to start unraveling. The only So matches need to start going. Like I said, not to hit the panic button, not to say that I don't trust the creative team or Triple H, but it's gonna 6 weeks will fly by fast. And if you don't give the right storylines, then I feel like some of these matches are thrown in there when you know that there is a storyline for the match, but I don't want them to expect you to fill in the blanks on your own because you knew about it. But coming into tonight and tomorrow, because SmackDown as well as Elimination Chamber is going to be held at Quebec at the Montreal. Will be in Montreal, Canada, right? It'll be tomorrow 8 p.m. on Peacock. You could watch the match. But the biggest controversy that's been lingering around that everyone seems to have a lot of fun talking about, and I think the eyes and people, why, if you're going to tune into this program, this is why you're tuning in. Sami Zayn has spent the last 8 months as this puppet, as this guy who has proven his worth to the bloodline, and really came from someone that I think would have been kind of just, written off screen to probably one of the hottest WWE stars right now on this roster. And I think, if anything worse, that is that is even understated for this match. And, Sami Zayn has done a tremendous job when he was with the Bloodline. He's done a tremendous job for the Bloodline and for himself. And I really think that the WWE and with this, Sami Zayn joining the Bloodline, doing what he did, has led to another incredible story. And now we see, and also has led to an incredible feud. And if you ever just think about, if you ever just threw Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns in a match, you wouldn't think, hey, this wouldn't really be much of a feud. And it really wouldn't be much of a contest. Roman Reigns will win hands down. But it's everything that was built up that led it perfectly. And even if you predicted and said, hey, I knew this was going to happen at the Royal Rumble, the fact that you actually saw it happening, I think, is another level. And, it's interesting because Roman Reigns has had this incredible feud, and it has been an incredible story for the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. It's also been an incredible, just like the story between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns last year. So a lot of credits were given. But now this final chapter supposedly comes down to tomorrow night in Canada in front of the millions of fans for Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn has built himself over everyone else. Now, there's two factors I want people to understand heading into this match, right? I mentioned this. I texted this to Steve Barber last night, and I'm going to stand by, and I think these are kind of issues. For one, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the weeks to come, but for one, Cody Rhodes makes the statement for the last few weeks about not caring who he was really facing, but really saying, hey, I want to see Sami Zayn, and I want to face Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And for me, if you're choosing to want to face Sami Zayn, I think I think that Roman Reigns and even Paul Heyman can make that a clear advantage heading into the weeks to come. If Roman Reigns wins and he goes on to face Cody Rhodes at Mania, that's saying, hey, listen, you kind of chose to have the odd way out. You wanted to face the weaker of these two. You really didn't want to earn the WWE title. You wanted to have an easy opponent compared to Roman. He's your standard. You want to beat the best? Well, here you go. I'm going to give you to him on a silver platter. The second thing is that, I heard about this, and I want to give credit because I heard about this, and it got me thinking, is that Sami Zayn is a problem in the WWE. He's the hottest guy right now on the roster, and he's not booked to main event WrestleMania. And I think that's an understatement. He spent the last 8 months, and now fans in the WWE universe is watching him thoroughly. Okay. And the WWE universe is, behind him solely. and the roof is going to go off. It's going to be blown off tonight when you see Sami Zayn there, and also on Saturday. And the underdog, the fan base is Sami Zayn. And I use this reference. He's the 2014 version of Bryan Danielson, and his journey to becoming champion and what he had to go through are not identical, but the built up to it is very similar. And so, you get this match, incredible match that you probably never thought would ever happen tomorrow night between Sammy and between Roman Reigns. And now you're asking yourself, all right, what really should be happening? Because if Sami Zayn is not involved some way, shape, or form at the main event at WrestleMania, whether he's involved in the match, whether he's in the match, whether he's involved in the match somehow, then Cody Rhodes may not be perceived, may not get the reaction that he's wanted to get at WrestleMania, because the tensions being why, you've done injustice to Sami Zayn. But yet again, something has to happen tomorrow night. And that's the other thing. We know, as much as we're going to get a very, very impactful chant and explosion for Sami Zayn, we're going to get probably the most loudest boos coming out of at the end of the night, because Roman Reigns is walking in as champion. It is difficult to see Sami Zayn, although he's the favorite, although he's at the peak of the fan base here, it is very difficult to see Sami Zayn be able to be that underdog to pull one over. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, because it can happen, but it logistically does not make sense for a guy like Sami Zayn or just anyone to pin Roman Reigns, and for two, do it at Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania to see Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes go one-on-one. Roman Reigns is still the guy to be holding that title going into WrestleMania. Now, I've heard, we've heard about this. I've heard about this last night on Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast, and I want to give them a shout out because, I texted them these questions, they've answered it, and they shine new light. And when I text Steve this morning, I was like, listen, yes, you have, although you've you've given me some, you answer these questions, but you've also opened up a whole new set of questions to answer. And one of those things is that we could possibly see a simulation or a similar storyline chapter written off at WrestleMania, where just like Daniel Bryan entered in as a triple threat match, we could see Sami Zayn as part of that. That opens up a whole lot of worms, because the speculation going forward with Kevin Owens and then this and that. But at the end of the day, okay, Roman Reigns has to win this match. Okay. And I think one thing I really liked about Dwayne Davis and Steve Barber over that Armchair Booking Podcast, and what they said was that if Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and then Sami Zayn's added into that match, then what you get a chance to see is that Roman Reigns doesn't have to be pinned. And it sparks. And I'm like, that's probably a brilliant idea. Not have the tribal chief pin, because what you could do is, while the bloodline is now showing some flaws, have them take a break. Maybe you could even have the Usos drop those titles, the Usos carry on for a little while so you can keep them in the picture, but have, Roman Reigns out and have Solo Sikoa kind of, fill in. But then, if Roman Reigns never got pinned, this can potentially extend the feud for when he needs to come back and WWE needs to get him back involved. He's right there, and he comes where he never, resumes where he never left, right where he left off at. And that is the WWE Championship. But I think the only way to do that is that Cody Rhodes has to pin someone else, which means Sami Zayn could see himself in a title picture, which means we may not see Sami Zayn team up with the Usos. Now, WrestleMania is a 2-night. I can see Sami Zayn doing something on night 1 and then earning himself a title match in night 2. So, all of that kind of now opens up a whole bunch of other questions that just makes it exciting. But coming down to the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match tomorrow night, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns, it's going to be mixed emotions. And the overall thing I can say is that the entire night can almost be predictable. Bobby Lashley could go over on Brock Lesnar. Asuka winning the women's Elimination Chamber match. Austin Theory retains the United States Championship. Judgment Day winning. Roman Reigns walking away. But just like the Royal Rumble and the prediction and the, you could easily predict, it was easily predictable that Roman Reigns was going to beat Kevin Owens. It's the execution of how you're going to do that, which is the final verdict. And I think that's what's going to captivate the fans. I want the fans' reaction tomorrow night. I want a peer reaction. I want the boos and the "you suck" chants. I want the everyone on their feet singing Sami Zayn's entrance. I've never seen them this big heated before, and I want to feel it from home. And I think that's what we're gonna get tomorrow. And I think that's why Elimination Chamber tomorrow night is probably going to be one of the better Elimination Chamber premium lives that we've seen in years past, because we're going to hopefully, if everything turns out the way it's supposed to turn out, and turns out, and the fan base reacts the way they want it to react, we're going to see, and we're going to be able to feel and get involved on the couch of your living room or wherever you're watching it. And that's why Elimination Chamber is going to be big. Roman Reigns wins tomorrow night against Sami Zayn. SmackDown's tonight. It's going to be in Canada. We have Drew McIntyre, Sheamus taking on the Viking Raiders as part of SmackDown. We also have the Intercontinental Championship, Madcap Moss taking on Gunther. Jey Uso appears to be back on the same page as the Bloodline, but Roman Reigns still has to respond to that. We have Asuka and Liv Morgan going one-on-one, and Ronda Rousey returns and teams up with Shayna Baszler to face in a tag team action. All right, let's take our last break of the morning. When we come on back, I want to we're done with Elimination Chamber. I kind of want to get you guys ready for the weekend. That's still to come. You guys are listening to the Throw In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
to LA with it. Mine to LA with it. Yeah. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Everything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing.
All right, 9:45 here. Let's wrap up an amazing show, very heated show. I say hour number one could have been a little bit better. I'll go ahead and just laugh at it because, I started thinking to myself, and I say, all right, this is what I want to talk about. This is how I'm going to say it. And then it never just turns out to the way that I want it to say. And it's like, oh, lovely. Okay, great. Just great. Okay. Overall, Elimination Chamber and the road to WrestleMania is the key important thing. And that's why it's a heavenly topic right now on this program. And the WWE has been a topic on this program. And, maybe you're asking the question, hey, why haven't she talked about AEW or Impact Wrestling or Ring of Honor? Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but WrestleMania WWE is for me the most important thing. And, maybe because that's what I grew up on. Maybe that is what I'm capable of watching each and every night. Not saying that AEW is not doing and not thriving. But I've heard stories between what Daniel Bryan's Bryan Danielson has said years ago to Vince McMahon, and Jake the Snake kind of commented on AEW. And this is the fine line between AEW and WWE. Because WWE has the storylines, and when you have the right creative team on the horizon, and you have the right people at the hands and at the wheel, steering the ship, then it's entertaining. And this is the entertainment process, entertainment process that you want to watch, that you want to see. This is why you tune into it, because you want to tune in next week. AEW has more wrestling matches, which is more traditional, and I get that. And that's why AEW is successful in their own right. But when you get capable of telling that story, I've always been fond of you being able to tell that story inside the ring about what's happening and what's going on and where that storyline is taking it. AEW doesn't necessarily have that. They have just kind of gripes and saying, oh, I'm better than you. Let's fight. Great. But WWE has personal stories now, stuff that you can relate to and stuff that kind of gets you on the edge of your seat. And you're seeing that this road to WrestleMania, and it's really excelling. I mean, I am a huge fan of this. And that's why lately WWE has taken priority over AEW. But Rampage is tonight. I believe it's on at 10 p.m. on TNT. And so there are matches. I believe there's a trio tag team match. Goldust, Dustin Rhodes is set to have an appearance and have a match tonight as well. But, we're excited. SmackDown's tonight. I'm excited. It's a reason to tune into. And it's been I kind of been in and out here and there. 1 week's bad, 1 week's good. It's been this is the reason to tune into it. It's WrestleMania season. Other news coming around just the world of sports. NBA actually began their break, All-Star break today. They will return on February 23rd for action. And hey, it's NBA All-Star season. You got LeBron James, Team LeBron taking on Giannis in this traditional All-Star game that will be displayed to you. I believe, blah, 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 blah. Where is that? Down here somewhere. All-Star game will be displayed right here on the 19th, which is this Sunday at 8 p.m. Available on TNT. But before we could even get to the All-Star game, we got to get to the NBA All-Star 3-point contest, February 18th, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on TNT, which will be available. The NBA 3-point contest contenders will be Tyrese Burton, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Kevin Herter, Damian Lillard, Laurie Markkanen, Fernie Simmons, and Jason Tatum. At least that's what I'm reading. That's what I was given to last night. And so it's just, listen, I think it's a fun, spectacular time. I really don't draw a lot of interest, especially since the Elimination Chamber is going to be on. Not going to really thrive to me. Maybe I'll tune into a little bit. Sunday night, same thing. I may tune into a little bit of this All-Star game. You got Team LeBron in this sense. You have LeBron's 19-time All-Star. Man, I tell you, I mean, you think about that's every year of his career, man. You got to give him credit where credit's due. He had also joined with 9-time Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, 5-time Nikolai Jokic, and Zion Williamson is his second time. As we get to the East, and we have the starters for the East built around Giannis, 7-time Giannis, 13-time Kevin Durant, 8-time Kyrie Irving, 4-time Donovan Mitchell, and then Jason Tatum 4 times. It's going to just be a fun game. Listen, I don't really quite think of the NBA All-Star as much, as anything else, because it's a lot of points. I mean, you had the best on the best. It's competitive in its own way, but it's really just, it's not fully competitive. And so when I'm, I sit here and I'm, looking at this and I'm like, I mean, maybe this is just not me being a huge basketball fan and why I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to this All-Star game. But NBA is moving along and they are looking to, they have this nice little break. Hockey continues tonight as well. Also wanted to just throw out there, the Genesis Invitational is out today, or started yesterday, and so far tied for first is Max Homa, and then you also have Keith Mitchell for 7 under par, and Tiger Woods is in part of the taking part of this Genesis Invitational over this weekend. Thursday he started off slow but finished off with a nice little thrill. Thing is with Tiger Woods, this is kind of supposed to be his final stretch, his kind of his retirement tour. I mean, I think listen, for a guy who had a terrible wreck, almost lost his leg, to come back within just a couple of years and return to PGA golf. I mean, any sport of that matter, I think is remarkable. And I think it's great because Tiger Woods understands where he's at. He's kind of been able over the last few years to do what he wants to do in PGA and in golfing, play with his own child and have fun at it. He understands where he's at in his time lapse of, hey, listen, I'm getting up there in age. I'm getting older and I probably should be retiring. So this is kind of what my plan is. And if he wants to play, as long as his body permits him to play, then I think that Tiger Woods should kind of go out and enjoy the time. This is going to be another ending of an era. And, regardless, I mean, I didn't really grow up too much of a golf fan, but you grow up and you knew Tiger Woods. I would honestly say, my recommendation is take the time this weekend to go out there. Not go out there. If you can go out there, great. If not, then at least take the time to watch Tiger Woods, because it may be the last. And this is the ending of an era from that standpoint. So that's that. So coming into Monday, like I said, I want to give you if I was booking WrestleMania with the talent I have now and knowing the information I know under speculations, I want to give you my booking on, maybe not what's on night 1, night 2, but the matches that I have prepared. for WrestleMania, and maybe let you guys agree, disagree. Let me know down in the comments type scenario. But then I also want to, we'll recap Elimination Chamber, and we really need to start focusing on the road to WrestleMania, because I want to address to you guys. There, like you said, 3 matches are confirmed as of the end of tomorrow. We will know who will be facing Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, at least for the time being. We will know who will be facing Bianca Belair. And then, like I said, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair will do battle. Unless there's a match that will be confirmed for WrestleMania tomorrow night, tonight on SmackDown. Excuse me on that. We have ideas, but until we actually see them be confirmed and see that match card, then we really can't confirm any of that. And so there's also a lot of people: Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Edge, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory. So many people that have yet to have any sort of match leading towards WrestleMania. Now, you can sit there and arguably say that whoever wins the United States Championship goes on, and it's going to go to WrestleMania. The Intercontinental Champion Gunther or Matt Moss will go to WrestleMania, or you also got you also end up having the Usos could be having a WrestleMania match, but nothing has been set in stone quite yet. And I know we're only hey, listen, we still have Elimination Chamber go, but listen, like I mentioned, 6 weeks, you guys, will go by pretty quickly. And, especially for the ones that need to have a storyline put in place. And when I say storyline, I don't want the storyline to be 1 week and you're done, right? You don't want to go announce it in 2 weeks saying, all right, Seth Rollins takes on Logan Paul, and then they don't revisit it for the remainder of the time. You need to be able to kind of build towards it, announce the match and build towards it. So we'll look forward to that. I do want to bring back on Monday, you guys, the weekly, the Wrestler of the Week. I still have last year's top 10 athletes that I know we're kind of, we're kind of prolonging this, procrastinating on this matter, but we want to talk about the Wrestlers of the Week, and our top 10 athletes, the top 5 matches of the year, top pay-per-views and whatnot. So I'm working on that still. But as things progress, and as we get ready, move forward, we're kind of getting built up. Like I said, starting tomorrow, we are a week from spring training. Like I said, I know that Manfred finally took a look at, kind of finally made a comment and a statement about the Reds ownership and the Castellinis and how it's been unhelpful for what they're trying to build. They made rule changes in 2023 that we talked about yesterday. And this just doesn't help the cause, for baseball, when you have an ownership that is really just putting down not only their team, but all the other teams that just don't have a chance at contingency in September. And, like I said, if the Reds go on and they contend and they put up 75, 80 wins this year, then guess what? The Castellinis are going to sit there and say, hey, listen, I did all that work just so that I can motivate our players. And that's all due to our credit. I proved you guys wrong. Well, if they didn't go out and they didn't win, then it's like no harm, no foul. The other thing is, and I'll just leave it as this last thing, is that, the only reason why I'm going out to a ball game is because, listen, I want to watch the Reds. I want to watch Joey Votto. I want to watch Hunter Green. I want to go out there and watch Will Myers and Tyler Stevenson and Jonathan India. I want to go out there because of the Castellinis. I go out there for Nick Trail, for God's sake. So at the same time, they're going to make money. You got to accept that. You want to put on the best product you can. Be interesting to watch and interesting to follow through. All right, that wraps up our show on a Friday. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and making this possible. Thank you to StreamYard. Thank you to Epidemic Sound. Thank you to Canva for our commercials. Thank you to Spreaker for uploading our podcast audio platforms. Be sure to tune us back in Monday morning. We cover Elimination Chamber recap and all of that fun, still good stuff. On behalf of the entire team of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, my name is Justin, and we will see you guys later on. You guys take care. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.